She said it a couple times, and y'all probably didn't pay attention to it, but I think it speaks to a bigger picture of where our community is, where our culture is, and not just our culture and black people, but I mean just in America in general. And as we move into 2024, some things that it highlights the area that I would like to see outlets like yours and others educate us more on. She said, and that is in the area of civics. And I think we have a huge lack of understanding of what civics is, how it plays in our everyday life, even though we complain about it every day, or I shouldn't say complain about it, we speak to it every day. She said, with her reference to her pay, after Uncle Sam takes, whenever people talk about taxes and they say takes, or in the sense of it was, they had to give this money away, I always say, what did you for with those taxes? And they may be justified in, saying that we are paying too many taxes, but what did you pay for? And when you think about, if you can't speak to what you paid for, it may speak to a greater role that you need to, or more education that you need to do in your local civics in terms of education, the city, what it's supposed to be doing for you, Flint, Michigan, and its water. What did you pay for? Did you get what you paid for? And then on the national level, EPA, what those things that the federal government does, our military, things like that. What did you pay for, and are you getting the value for your money? And if we look at it from that aspect, I think that would lead us to educating ourselves more on from the civics aspect. And before you respond, I ask you another question. I wanted to congratulate you, Montoya, on a great book that you introduced to us this year.
Thank you, brother.
And somebody asked me, I was on the school board I finished my 7 years on the school board this past April. And after it was sometime in the summer with a bunch of craziness going on, somebody asked me, ain't you glad you don't have to run for election anymore? And I said to him, no. And I referenced the first paragraph in your book, man.
Oh,
the
wow.
first paragraph in the the first chapter of your book, and I wish I was home and I would read it out here because I think it's so important. But I'm
reading the book right now because I was going to share some of it later. You're talking about the very first page?
In the first chapter. The first chapter.
If you come to distrust America, at least hope the game is fair, possibly? Is it that line? I'll quote it.
I think the last line references you have to participate.
Okay.
We have to participate, and that's what I got from it is we have to be in this game, and to be in the game, we have to be educated on what's going on around us. What are we paying for? And ensure the people that are out here representing us that we are voting on have our interests, and and we don't just vote. A lot of times I say black people are like sugar in a bad glass of tea, and we sitting at the bottom, and they shake us up every 4 years when they need it to taste right, when they won't take a sip, and then over that 4 years we sink right back to the bottom, and the world operates above our heads. While we just sit here. You know what I'm saying?
I'm loving that analogy, brother, because let me jump in here, man, because I love where you're taking us. I love where you're taking us. Again, this is why I call y'all the smartest audience in all of radio, because no way did I hear that the P angle would move us in this direction, but I love where you're going right now, and I would love to, again, just piggyback a little bit and offer my 3 cents back to you, if you will, in this sense. Not only are you 100% right, and I want to just really reiterate where Brent started his part of his conversation when he started his talk, if you will, or his rant, if what you want to call it. He started with the concept of her saying when Uncle Sam takes, it's taxes. And that's how we quite often reference it as a culture, not simply black people, if you will, but as a culture. That's how we look at it. And I want to kind of walk through that a little bit, because he's absolutely right in this sense. And I would highly recommend people that already follow us go back and listen to our show that we did on why Elon Musk pays $0 in taxes. And it'll give you some of the education that B-Funk, I call my boy B-Funk, I know, Brent, or whatever, is talking about. Here's the reality. We have a societal contract with our government, if you will, locally, state level, federal level, to his point, in which these taxes are supposed to be used to our own benefit or the community's benefit in a way that we all kind of mutually agree. So to Brent's point, when we even reference the government took half, the language matters, because that's how we can become that sugar at the bottom of his analogy, the bottom of his iced tea. Because if we're only looking at it as they took something, then that means we're not even concerned with what they're doing with our tax money. And we're not even focused on having a say on something we rightfully should have a say in, quote unquote, based on how American history is taught. We partly became a United States because of taxation without representation. So I know we're going a little deep here, but I love what B-Funk is bringing to the table. And you're absolutely right that even in our language, if we just say, I hate that Uncle Sam took my taxes, you're probably also not that civically involved as well, because you have a right to say which politician is in place and what they're doing with their tax money. And if you don't think on that perspective, then you're absolutely right. Uncle Sam is just taking your money because you don't care. I went pretty hard there, but I think that's what I hear you